we've all been waiting on bated breath to see, whether Biden's going to say anything, right? These campus protests have been a site where Republicans have gone and sort of grandstood about, we have to support Israel and we have to support freedom of no, not freedom of speech. Shit, that was last week's talking point. That was last year's. Basically decrying everything that's going on there. So Biden had a moment. He had a moment today, and he spoke to what was happening on college campuses and the fact that divestment campaigns and the cries to stop funding Israel's genocide on the people of Palestine and the people of Gaza are spreading like wildfire. And here is what he had to say. Let's take a look. I got to get full remarks. Here we are.
On our college campuses here. We've all seen the images, and they put to the test two fundamental American principles. Excuse me. The first is the right to free speech and for people to peacefully assemble and make their voices heard. The second is the rule of law. Both must be upheld. We are not an authoritarian nation where we silence people or squash dissent.
Really? We're not? We're okay. Well, he said we're not. Well, yeah, I mean, I know that like cops violently broke up the encampments and punched 19-year-olds and threw them downstairs, but he said we're not. We're not authoritarian. So I guess that was all authoritarian. That was democratic what happened last night and 2 nights ago.
The American people are heard. In fact, peaceful protest is in the best tradition of how Americans respond to consequential issues. But neither are we a lawless country. We are a civil society, and order must prevail. Throughout our history, we've often faced moments like this because we are a big, diverse, free-thinking, and freedom-loving nation.
What were those? Wait, hang on, time out. What were those moments? What were the moments like this? Let's just go over them. What were they? Were maybe about I don't know, Black people having equal rights, maybe about the Black Americans being able to be educated alongside white students, the right to vote. Was that a moment? Were they called lawless at the time? Pretty sure they were. What about when the U.S. was engaged in decades-long war in Vietnam and killing millions of Vietnamese? And when we saw our children, people saw their children come home in body bags day after day after day after day. Was that a moment? What, let's talk about the moments. Hey, why rush through the speech? Talk about the moments. What side of history are chumps like you on in that moment in history when we've been through this before? And what side of history were the students on? Time and again, the student... Rarely, like, there was never a student movement that was like, bless Harvey Weinstein, yes, you know what I mean? Like, even before the Me Too movement, like the right to rape, like that wasn't a thing. Why? Because students generally are on the right side of history when there's a student movement that pops off, right? There was like, student groups don't form up around like protecting predators, or like the right to kill animals or or some shit. Like, it doesn't happen. They're usually doing something for human rights. Anyway.
In moments like this, there are always those who rush in to score political points. But this isn't a moment for politics. It's a moment for clarity. So let me be clear.
So he's basically talking to Mike Johnson, Lauren Boebert, James Comer, and everyone else who's taken it upon themselves to visit these campus protests and use it as a moment to hit Biden. He's like, no, it's not a moment for politics. It's a moment to...
Here, peaceful protest in America. Violent protest is not protected. Peaceful protest is. It's against the law when violence occurs. Destroying property is not a peaceful protest. It's against the law. Vandalism, trespassing, breaking windows, shutting down campuses, forcing the cancellation of classes and graduations. None of this is a peaceful protest. Threatening people, intimidating people, instilling fear in people is not peaceful protest. It's against the law. Dissent is essential to democracy, but dissent must never lead to disorder or to denying the rights of others so students can finish the semester and their college education. Look, it's basically a matter.
So, in other words, don't use this is not to score political points. I'm here to tell you that this is above politics. Why? Because I 100% agree with those Republicans who have been chiding these students. Because I agree that they are lawless. I agree that they have somehow broken the law, and that I am more concerned with like a shitty desk at Columbia's Hamilton Hall being pushed up against a door than I am about the murder of 13,000 Palestinian children, than I am about a group of Palestinian children who were playing foosball, who were struck in a targeted strike by the IDF using our American-made missiles.
Of fairness. It's a matter of what's right. There's the right to protest, but not the right to cause chaos. People have the right to get an education, the right to get a degree.
I mean, this is indistinguishable from Southern segregationists telling MLK to like pipe down. Indistinguishable.
The right to walk across the campus safely without fear of being attacked. Let's be clear about this as well. There should be no place on any campus, no place in America for anti-Semitism or threats of violence against Jewish students. There is no place for hate speech or violence of any kind, whether it's anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, or discrimination against Arab Americans or Palestinian Americans.
That's fun. They're spared a thought.
It's simply wrong. There's no place for racism in America. It's all wrong. It's un-American. I understand people have strong feelings and deep convictions. In America,
which is weird to me because I have none. You know, I am a hollow shell of a person. I was just stuffed with Golda Meir's propaganda, and I just echo it. I am an empty suit, and I understand there's people out there who are human and who have hearts. I am not one of them.
We respect the right and protect the right for them to express that. But it doesn't mean anything goes. It needs to be done without violence, without destruction, without hate, and within the law.
In other words, not done at all. Could you not? Like, if your protest is going to be chaotic, we're going to probably arrest you.
You know, make no mistake. As president, I will always defend free speech. And I will always be just as strong in standing up for the rule of law. That's my responsibility to you, the American people, my obligation to the Constitution. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, have the protests forced you to reconsider any of the policies with regard to the region?
No. Thank you.
Mr. President, do you think...
Beautiful, beautiful dismount. Listen, he's not quite off yet. His foot's still in the stirrup of this horse. This very just dead, far beaten horse. Mr. President, have the student protests caused you to rethink your policies in regard to notice how she's not triggering him, region? Region is very stand-in for just talking about Gaza, talking about Israel. No, region. No, they have not. First of all, I call bullshit on that. I think he's scared. I do think he's scared, and I think they are having an impact. But the callousness with which he can just say no. Oh boy. This is the same guy that is going to be calling on everybody to get out the vote. Get out the vote. Come on, young people. I banned TikTok and allowed a rubber bullet to go into your skull. Young people?
I think the National Guard should intervene.
No.
Do you think the National Guard should intervene? No, as he walks away. You gotta love a Biden. Like, I know the right loves to hate on Biden's little dismounts like this, where he like turns his back and then like says it, answers it anyway. Like, just go. Just leave. You said the thing. Go away. At least he didn't come back to the podium like he did when he was trying to defend his memory. This is where we are, people. It is terrifying that this is a president who will not budge, even though 57% of his actual voters of Democrats believe that what is happening in Gaza is a genocide. Yes, definitionally a genocide. And he has only himself to blame. And yet we are the ones who are going to lose if he does in November. He's fucking us. He's fucking democracy, as he claims to want to save it in the same breath that he excuses the brutalizing of people exercising their democratic right to protest. And they are being peaceful. Look at all of the places where cops have not been called in. Oh, you haven't heard shit about them. Why? Because there's no violence. Because there's no violence. No one's heard talking about Irvine. Because there's no violence. Because the mayor has not decided to call the cops in on them yet. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuationroom. Do it.